Hey everyone, welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and I'm so glad you're here because tonight we're going to be talking about a very important, and I'm talking about very important topic because we're going to be talking about have Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin mismanaged this team. And so we're going to be talking about a rebuild or just build. We're going to be talking about the state of this team and what to do. And so I want your comments, okay? I want your comments. I want your input, your take on it, because this is an important thing. And Canuck fans are talking about this over and over again, and it's really important conversation. Now, I've got some strong opinions. And as you know, I love making Canucks content that is passionate, realistic, and honest. And so we're going to get into some, what I feel, some honest takes about this team. And there's reason to be concerned. Okay, there's reason to be concerned. I've got some concerns, right? And we all do. And it's not that we're trying to, hate on someone or whatever. But let's ask some of the bigger questions because there's a lot of things to talk about. And just a reminder. I'm back. A lot of you have been messaging me and going, RevTrev, where are you? You haven't been doing your post-game shows and all that kind of stuff. I've been on vacation, guys, on the most epic vacation ever, sports vacation ever, okay? So last week, I flew in to Chicago from Vancouver. My friend Sean and I went to went and had some deep dish pizza, okay, in Chicago. The next day, the Friday, we went to the Bulls versus Bucks game. The Bulls were 6-1. We played, I'm a huge Bulls fan, but I also love Giannis. Giannis was unbelievable, 41 points, like 15 rebounds, 1 assist, it was crazy. It was crazy, that game. Saturday, drove to Green Bay, my favorite team, the Green Bay Packers, went to the stadium tour. Then that night, we drove 4 hours from Green Bay to Minneapolis and watched the Vikings game on Sunday versus the Ravens-Vikings in US Bank Stadium. That evening, went to St. Paul, which is a Twin City, right? And went and watched the Minnesota Wild at home versus the Calgary Flames. I booed the Flames in Minnesota. You better believe it. I've got content coming out on that as well. And then we drove from there the next morning, Monday morning, to see the primetime Packers playing at home at Lambeau versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, granted, it wasn't the greatest game, but it was a great experience. Loved Lambeau. And then I flew home Tuesday. And so last night was the Jets game, and I just couldn't. I was just so exhausted from it. I stayed up all night because we had an early flight Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. from Chicago. I had to drive back down from Chicago after the Packer game. It was crazy. So I watched the Jets game last night, but I didn't have time. So, but I think there's some bigger things. Like the Jets game was fine. I wish we would have won, but we didn't. I mean, there's concerning things, right? And so we want to talk about this team, and I want you to post in the comments so that I want to hear from you about this. How do you think that the Canucks management has mismanaged this team? And it's a fair question. It's a fair question. And we're going to get into rebuild or build, okay? But I want to talk about, first of all, this big question. And please post in the comments whether you're watching this live or watching this later, because it's a very important one. It's a very important one. Some of the things that have concerned us, okay? And a lot of people are talking, and let's just be honest. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and just have an honest conversation. I know that we're frustrated, and it kind of comes around to a couple key things. Okay, I was just typing something in there so I can make sure I don't miss anything. But the big one right now is the goaltending contracts. Okay, so you know me, I love Demko. I think he's a difference maker. When healthy, he's a top 3 goaltender in the NHL. Okay. Literally was second in Vezina voting 2 years ago. Okay. Love Demko when healthy. The problem is this guy's rarely healthy. In fact, you can label Demko as injury prone, and they go out and they sign him to a 3-year extension, $8.5 million. Okay. He was making $5 million times 5 years. End of that contract happened. Or actually, this year he's still making $5 million. That extension kicks in next year, so we have another 3 years. But he's injury prone. He's injured again. Now it's 2 to 4 weeks. But you know what? I don't trust what the Canucks say when it comes to when a player is coming back. They said, day to day, week to week. It's turned into month to month for so many players, especially Höglander. Where's Höglander? He's got some kind of major injury that nobody's talking about. And that's my pet peeve of the NHL. You don't have to disclose what the injury is. But with all the sports betting, and I'm not encouraging sports betting, but I'm just saying with all the sports betting, you should be transparent as a league. Like the NFL does it, like the NBA does it. You can't just say lower body injury, right? I think the NBA does that. But the NFL tells you what it is. I think the NHL needs to do that. And here we are. And I love Demko, and I'm happy we have him back for 8.5. So is it just like, hey, well, when he's healthy, it's great. But if he's not, he's on LTIR. Like, is that what the plan is? And then if you even think about the Lankinen deal, this makes sense, right? They wanted, we don't know how Demko's going to be. So we need to sign Lankinen to $4.5 million times 5 years after he's had one good year with us. And now he had a lot of good numbers. I mean, he beat out Saros for the lead goaltending spot with I was wondering why that thing is not on. Okay. For the main goaltending spot for Team Finland, right? For Team Finland. Sorry, I got distracted there. Also, because of that, we missed out on Shilovs, and now he's kicking butt in Pittsburgh. $850,000, guys. That's all we're talking about. Meanwhile, we're spending millions on goaltending, and Lankinen this year, let's be honest, has been a complete dud. And we just signed him for 5 years. This is concerning. This is very, very concerning. What are Canucks management doing? Now, if Demko's healthy, I get it. But now we're spending, what is it, $13 million of our cap on goaltending? I mean, it's hindsight 2020, right? So, and you know me, I said we're going to make the playoffs. I'm still not out on that. Because when healthy, this team is a playoff team, in my opinion. But the problem is we haven't been healthy. Not just Demko, but we're talking we're talking the most injuries out of all the teams in the NHL so far this season. We've had the most injuries. Does not look good, right? And I know that a lot of people are frustrated that we went and got Evander Kane. And was this a good move? Why did we trade trading a fourth round pick for Evander Kane? Who cares? But why do you add him? Now, I think the reason why they added Evander Kane was because of his grit, his size, and he can play in the playoffs. The problem was the baggage, and a lot of people are upset about his past, okay? It's cool that he's coming home. I like that. But we all know that he takes bad penalties. And fans here hate that. But they traded for him and took on the $5 million salary. Now, granted, it's only for 1 year. But I don't think they thought they were going to get Brock Besser back. Okay? That is why I believe we went and got Kane. People say, why did they get him? Because I don't think they thought the contract with Besser wasn't going good. They fully planned on losing Besser, okay? And then, so far the Kane one hasn't panned out, which I hope it does. But this one was, Coach Foote was a questionable choice, right? I got to put a questionable choice. My apologies. Coach Foote was a questionable choice. And a lot of people said, why didn't you just wait for Manny Malhotra? But they wanted to have it done. And listen, I like Adam Foote. I like that he's getting an opportunity. Don't get me wrong. But if we're honest, he does not have NHL coaching experience other than the assistant under Adam Foote. And in the WHL, he had a terrible record with the Kelowna Rockets. I don't know about you, but I think that's super concerning. Super concerning. I'm so concerned about that. And right now, it doesn't look like it was a good hire. Now, it's still a small sample size. So jury's out on that one. But I think the biggest one is these two contracts here. Well, it's Demko, and then, well, I mean, Lankin. If Lankin doesn't play better, that's a terrible contract. He's got to take this team, and he's got to steal some games. Lankinen does, but the EP40 contract, hindsight 2020, you probably should have traded Pettersson. You could have got Nashus from Carolina and a whole bunch of other stuff. I think you could have done it. But the jury's out on this one. But I'm just telling you, if he's going to score 40 to 50 points in a season, and I don't care who he's playing with or what, $11.6 million AAV does not, I mean, you can play good defense, you can be a good passer and all that stuff, but it's points. You got to generate points. So yes, he's good defensively. Great, cool, awesome. He put some weight on, awesome. But at the end of the day, $11.6 million to score points. No one's paying someone $11.6 million to play defense only. Guys, Sherwood is outplaying EP40. Now, the good news is about Pettersson. They finally put him on, I believe, the right line. Kane on the left side, Garland on the right. Pettersson he does not drive the line. Okay. We know that he's a complimentary player. He's not the alpha male. Okay. He's not the alpha male on the line. You've got two guys. Garland drives the line. Okay. Little old Garland, big heart, awesome motor, incredible will. and has some skills, no doubt about it. But it's now that line actually is pretty good. So I'm hoping they continue to keep that line together, because I think you're going to see the best production on this roster with that line. For some reason, Besser and Pettersson don't play great together unless JT Miller's on the line, and he's gone. So that's another thing. Like, did the Canucks mismanage that whole JT Miller Pettersson rift? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a question. Maybe they just tried their best. I'm not going to throw them under the bus with it. But the Besser contract is 2 years too long, and it's because they couldn't sign anyone else, and they circled back to Besser and said, we need to get somebody, and it's better to have Besser than nobody. You imagine this team right now without Besser. Now you save yourself $7.25 million a year. But I think it was good. I think they tried to get him for 8 times 5, and he said no. And they said, listen, we'll give you 7, but we'll give you 7.25. And he said yes. Stayed in Vancouver. But maybe this is not a good contract. Okay? I mean, is Pettersson going to get back to 40 goals again in his career? I don't know. Right now, the answer is no. But it could. He could. He's done it before. He can do it again, kind of thing. I know this is tough to hear, right? This is another one that I'm a little concerned about. The addition and instant contracts of Marcus Pettersson and Drew O'Connor, DOC. $5.5 million for Marcus Pettersson. And Drew O'Connor, what is he making? $2.5 million. I mean, that's not bad. But it's just like, can we just see what they look like on our roster first? I know you traded things for them. It's just quick. See if that, maybe that is good. I don't know. You tell me. Is there something I'm missing? Is there something? Oh, here's one. The other thing about Allvin and Rutherford that doesn't make sense, and you know me, I want Rutherford behind a microphone, because he always is a loose cannon and says crazy stuff, and it's awesome content. But as a fan, I'm like, I don't get what they say in front of a microphone. Now, Allvin used to be the guy. It's like he's calm, he's steady, he's very politically correct. Until this weekend, Hockey Night in Canada, I'm literally in the United States. It's that Saturday night, and I'm watching the interview with Allvin on, was it After Hours? Or in between periods? I think it was After Hours. Yeah, it was After Hours with Scott Oak. And they asked him about Sherwood. They asked him about the rebuild and all that kind of stuff. And then they asked him about Sherwood and said, hey, Sherwood's been an incredible player for you. What do you guys think? Are you guys going to be able to extend him? And blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden he says something absolutely wild, man. Absolutely wild. He says, hey, we don't have a lot of money. What are you doing? You know what you should have said? You should have said, man, Sherwood is having a fantastic year. And you know what? Last year, he had a fantastic year too. And I like what I'm seeing in Sherwood. But, you know, we'll get into those contract talks later. But we're hoping that we keep Sherwood. That's what you should say publicly. But instead, you use your inside voice outside. Your inside voice was saying, I don't know if we can afford him. Fans are mad because you didn't keep P.S. Suter. Right? We went for Kane instead of P.S. Suter. Like, why'd we do that? Well, his size, grit, all that kind of stuff, right? Has some offensive upside. But P.S. Suter was the jack of all trades and would just do it all. It was he was way better as a centerman than a winger. He was incredible on the power and on penalty kill. There were times he even played the power play. Not that he played it well. But here we are. And the public comments about the Hughes brothers from Rutherford was shocking. I'm like, what in the world is he doing? I mean, it's great that he's honest. Don't get me wrong. Like, put the mic in front of him, but like, guys, like I'm hoping I've predicted that we're going to keep Quinn Hughes. Quinn's going to re-sign, but it's like for how long? 3 minutes or 3 minutes? Sorry, 3 years, 8 years. How much money we talking? You know what? You didn't talk about Sherwood. It's not. I don't know. It's a lot of money. You know, we don't have a lot of money around. Yeah, because you got to pay Quinn Hughes, and you overpaid Pedersen, and you overpaid Demko for being injury prone. Which leads us to the big question. The big, huge question. Should the Canucks rebuild or should they keep building? And there's this thing. It's called the Stanley Cup. The Canucks want to win a Stanley Cup. What's the best way for the Canucks to win a Stanley Cup? Keep building with this team or rebuild it? Now, I understand. People are using the word rebuild, okay? It's like they throw it out there. It's no problem, right? Like my buddy Rod here, okay? He's saying rebuild this thing. Rebuild it. You know, you've got Elfrin here saying rebuild this team, okay? It's only made the playoffs twice. Each playoff appearance is followed by multiple years of missing the playoffs. Like, so many Canuck fans are like, to see like just once before I die. You know, the Flames have more Stanley Cup wins than the Vancouver Canucks. That's unacceptable. That's atrocious. Who's going to win a Stanley Cup sooner? The Flames, who are definitely going to be rebuilding. They're tanking right now. Okay. Who's going to win the next Stanley Cup, Calgary or Vancouver? The problem is rebuilds take 8 to 12 years to do it. If you're lucky and can get you get a number one draft pick that turns out to be a generational talent, you've got a better chance. How many first round picks did the Edmonton Oilers get? And they finally got McDavid and Nugent Hopkins, okay? But they never won this yet. Maybe this is their year. Maybe next year. I'm not sure. But they have not won with McDavid yet. It's hard to rebuild, okay? And I get it. Fans are like, but if we lose Quinn Hughes, it's like, let's rebuild because the fastest way to get it. I mean, but he's the best player potentially this team has ever had in 35 years. It took us 35 years to find a Quinn Hughes. They don't grow on trees. And we're not tanking, everyone. We're not tanking. And let's be completely honest. And we want to talk about this management team. Okay? This management team. Is not rebuilding this team. They're not rebuilding this. And that's not why Rutherford and Alvin were hired. They're hired to make this team make the playoffs and eventually become a contender. And their goal is to win a Stanley Cup. Our owner would have to fire them both to get a rebuild because they're not here to rebuild this team. And I'm not sure that Aquilini will ever rebuild this team. Everyone's seen the reports that they could have traded Kessler and got a couple first-round picks. They could have traded Burrows, all these things in 2014, got a first-round pick, and he decided no. So I get that a fan base wants it, and we say it so flippantly, but we don't understand getting people in the seats. People are going to come to this team. They got to be competitive. You can't just be getting blown out like Calgary is. Like, listen, I went to the Calgary Flames Minnesota game. I just told you that. I watch it. They are so terrible. And what's weird about it is they're the same players as they did last year, and they're terrible. They outshot the Minnesota Wild by a whole bunch, okay? And then get this. They looked like the worst team. And Minnesota had that line of Kaprizov, Zuccarello, and in the middle, Marco Rossi, who we tried to get. By the way, there is no second line center coming to rescue this team. There's no blockbuster trade. And now the newest rumor is now Kirkland from Calgary. Listen, he's not going to change the DNA of this team. Oh, it's stressful to think about. But if this team could be healthy, maybe Rutherford and Alvin are good. But this Canucks management is not rebuilding this team. I know you as fans want this to happen, but I don't want it to happen. I want us to keep Quinn Hughes and try to find this team. The problem is they believed in Pettersson, and Pettersson has failed so far from his contract. It's just fact. And just the injuries, the rift, all the things, the contracts. It's getting tough. It's getting tough. Now, I want you to know I still believe in this team. I still believe in blue. I still will cheer this team on. But we need to have an honest conversation, an honest talk about this. And if the Pettersson contract alone doesn't pan out, if he doesn't bounce back, doesn't do his revenge tour, we're in big trouble as it is. But if we lose Quinn Hughes, if Demko doesn't play, we're in big trouble. Big trouble. And so having playoff moments like this, where at least we're in the dance and we're contending, that's not going to happen unless things change. And I don't know what you can do with those contracts. You have Garland locked up for 6 years. You extended Demko for another 3 years. So now 4 year this year and next 3 more years. So 4. You've got Lankinen locked up. You've got Besser locked up. You've got Pettersson locked up. You don't have Quinn Hughes locked up. And that's why fans are going, let's rebuild this baby. Okay, listen, I'm going to get into your comments. I'm really excited to get into your comments. I'm going to hit the promo, and then we're going to dive into it. So glad that you're here. Tough conversation, I know, but it needs to happen. Needs to happen. David W. is saying he's pleased that I'm back. Thank you so much, David W. I've been wondering where you've gone for the last several days. So yeah, I was on my big trip, and love it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Okay, so Alfred says for this rebuild to happen, a few things has to take place. He says first, either change in management or trade Quinn Hughes. This management was only hired to bring this team into the playoffs year after year, but they haven't lived up to expectation. Then he goes on to say, we have to be ready for the potential of Quinn Hughes leaving Vancouver. I'm not there yet, by the way. To play elsewhere. By trading Quinn Hughes, we get some draft picks and maybe a prospect, depending on who the suitor is. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, man. I hear you. Monty has been saying not to re-sign Demko, to trade him for a long time. Oh, wait, he's hurt again. Wish I was shocked by that fact, right? Canuck Tony is one of the most dedicated Canucks fans, saying it's almost to the point of just rebuilding. We're still like 4 players away. Japan 4 never got a hat trick tonight. Maybe we should trade Hughes for for a huge package from New Jersey. Maybe that's, I mean, then it's a real rebuild, right? Cousin Vinny, time to move on from Demko and the GM. You know, Drew is here and he's saying we need new ownership. I know, but are they gonna? Who's gonna sell it? Like, are they really gonna sell this team? I mean, they already traded Shilovs away, right? Now Monty wants us to dump Demko. But Canuck Tony is saying, I still have faith. One more second line center and injuries back and we can get going. Just hard to find. No one's given us a second line center. Shannon's in the building. Good to see you. We are not tanking for McKinnon. Okay. Calgary is for sure. Yeah, man, it was an amazing vacation though. It was very, very good. It was a milestone vacation, our birthday present, and I was thrilled. I had fun, and my friend Sean and I went. We were great. But yeah, if we could get McKenna, that'd be awesome. But if we get McKenna, it means we're losing out on Hughes. Mark is here. Good to see you. I think So Proof is out there. So Proof. I don't think ownership would do a rebuild, so I guess another retool on the fly, which does not work. Well, yeah, people are questioning the coaching, right? Demko was a massive risky signing for sure. Monty's been saying it for a long time. Demko is never healthy. Sad but true, right? Shannon doesn't want to blame coaching right now. Demko is not proving he can stay healthy. Mark says they jumped the gun on Demko. They re-signed him with a year still left on his contract. Good point, right? Yeah, 8.5 per season cap hit effective July. It's bad, even worse than the Flames, right? They tried Mrazek to 11.4? Like overall, 3 seasons. Okay, that's fine. Zach says, hope you had a great vacation. Thank you. I did. It was epic. It was amazing. It was so fun. I think management did a great job to this point. When you had JT Miller, Suter, Hronek, Hughes, Petey, and Garland, we absolutely should have been pushing for the playoffs. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair comment. Like this one. There's no doubt that President Rutherford and GM Alvin have been idiots at times with Demko and Lankinen, EP40 contracts already having aged like milk. Okay, yeah. Kevin says, I'm okay with both contracts, but they should have kept Shilovs as the third on the NHL roster. They couldn't. They would have had to lose him on waivers, so they could not have kept him. The way the contracts are set up, once they signed Lankinen, and if they went to go get Demko, which they did, it meant the end of Shilovs, and that's why they traded him. So they couldn't have kept all 3. It was, you had to keep 2 of the 3, and they chose Demko and Lankinen and paid them huge money, and then you have Shilovs was the odd man out. The roster has changed, and for us to continue to push for playoffs would be wasteful. If we trade our future away with this roster, it would be absolutely foolish. At least that's one of the things that management has done well. They have protected the young guys that are coming up. They did not trade them away. I'm so glad Verlander didn't get traded. I'm so glad DPD didn't get traded. I'm so glad Leckermacky didn't get traded. Mancini hasn't been traded. I know that they tried to move the 15th overall pick, but maybe Coots turns into something great, you know? David W. says Shilovs was unplayable at the NHL level last regular season for the Canucks, right? At least they got something. Steve, my buddy, says Demko equals Carey Price. He's done. Lankinen, 1 decent year, new contract, goalie of the future. I mean, that's why he's getting paid, right? Just in case Demko doesn't make it at the thing. Cousin Vinny thinks that management screwed up. They need to be fired. Mark says, didn't Rutherford say he would not stick around for a rebuild? I don't think Quinn will. Yeah, I'm with you. Kevin says, Sheelovs was unplayable last season, but as a bench warming goalie, at least one lesson. No, they couldn't. They had to pick them. Remember. Yeah, Steve thinks Demko's done. Kevin, Kane will break out. You have too many did not practice or did not play. Sorry, my bad. You have too many NDP liberals in Vancouver who cancel cultured them. I think there were some pretty serious accusations, man. I don't know. I don't know what it has to do with politics there. I'm not sure there, Kevin, but maybe the Penguins are better defensively, a better defensive team than many thought. That's why Sheelovs is thriving. Maybe. Kevin says, yeah, both goalies in Pittsburgh are having great years. Kevin thinks that the contract was cheap. It was cheap, but it went long. That's the problem. They told everyone that they didn't want a long contract with Besser and then ended up circling back. They only wanted to get him for 5 years. You and Kellen, Mark, has been saying that we just need a whole team of Sherwoods. No one wants to come to Vancouver, Steve says. Yeah, what they do if we overpay them? Besser has the same amount of points as Petey and all the clutch moments. Petey plays scared. I don't know if he's plays scared. I don't know. I think we just get all the men from this stream and Clay's stream and go and coach this team. I love it, Shannon. Kevin says Kane needs to bully the opposition to give Petey room. I'm okay with that. Coach Rob is ready. He can help. Sherwood is almost playing himself on the. He's playing great. Canuck Tony, I'd take JT and Sheelovs over Petey and Demko, to be honest. Wow, that's a statement and a half. I mean, Rangers aren't doing good either, but Besser and Petey are good with Höglander. Got to be patient. Try that again. Okay. I don't know what Höglander's injury is. Some people think it's a foot. Yeah, Petey is a $6 million Selke player, and we paid him like Kucherov, Nylander. We paid him like Draisaitl, and what's his name? Anyways, you get my point. I want Sheelovs on the Canucks after what he did in Abbey. Yeah, I know we had to let him go. Hope we can keep Sherwood, but he won't keep this goal pace up, but I always loved him. Listen, here's the thing about Sherwood, and I'll do a different video about this, but he's worth the money right now, guys. Last year, he smashed, literally pun intended, smashed, body checked the NHL hits record as a forward. Insane. This year, he's scoring goals and still hitting, still playing. He's tough to play against. I don't know. You got to add those kind of guys to your team. That's why I like JT Miller. That's why I like Sherwood. I like those kind of aggressive guys. Those guys are tough to play against. That's what I want. Instead, we went with the finesse players, and I'm not saying Quinn Hughes is a finesse player, but this team doesn't have grit. They're not hard to play against most nights. Steve, Sherwood will not resign. Besser is a homer who wanted to stay living on the West Coast. Management is panic shopping to keep some resemblance of a team. I mean, yeah, Steve, you're not optimistic about this team. I get it. Steven, there was a time when EP40 was the third best center in a 5v5-point production for almost 2 full seasons, only behind McKinnon and McDavid. This season, he ranks 52 for centers. Last season was atrocious. Can we ask JT Miller to come back? JT Miller doesn't want to come back to Vancouver, but that would be awesome if he did. I think both the Marcus Pettersson and DLC contracts were too fast, but maybe DLC is coming around this year. It's possible. EP3 seems to have fallen off a bit. He's fine. He's not great. Zach says, question for you, Kemp. What are the odds that Hughes is still a Canuck next season? I think it's high. I think we're going to find a way to re-sign him. That's my honest opinion, Zach. I think it's, Canuck Tony thinks it's like, and like if he's in the Canucks uniform next season, I'm expecting that, but Canuck Tony is not, right? So far this month, the Canucks have allowed at least 3 goals in all 6 games they've played, including 4 in the last 5. Then what do you mean 3 goals on all 6 games? Defensive awareness seems to have gotten worse since last season. We can't win faceoffs very well either. We're not good on the PK. October, okay. This month, the Canucks have allowed at least 4 goals in over half the games. And if the metrics aren't signs of the Canucks team this month has mostly been a defensive disaster, I don't know what is. Japan 4, because Alvin and Rutherford are sabotaging this team. How so? How so? Oh, by saying that thing about Sherwood? I mean, if I was Sherwood, I can't wait for this show, this crap show season to end and get on a good team. Jeremiah's in the building. Welcome, man. Jeremiah, welcome. Doodle Hockey's in the building. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Zach wants a rebuild. Zach says if Hughes leaves 100%, we need to rebuild. I'm okay with that. However you say rebuild in any language, Japan 4 says let's do it. Canuck Tony says we seemed close on paper at the start of the season with cap, available players, etc. Once again, we're screwed. I'll just toss it all and go in for 3 years. I know, man. The Canucks are an offensive and defensive tire fire, Steve says. We are now passed by Chicago, San Jose, Montreal, Anaheim. What did they do? Rebuild. Canuck Tony says 100% if Hughes leaves, rebuild. We might have to. You say this core, we've lost Horvat and lost Miller. This core is just missing a Miller and a Horvat. All right, that's a great point. Not sure about 8 to 12 years, more like 4 to 6. No. It's a long process, brother. Like if everything goes your way, it could be 4 to 6. But there's no Hughes. You lose your best player. You lost your best forward last year with JT Miller. You lost, and if you lose Quinn Hughes, your best player, potentially the best player that's ever played for this franchise. You think it's going to take 4 to 6 years, my friend? I'm not. I think it's going to take longer than that. The Canucks are worse than the Maple Leafs, keeping their core for way too long and don't get anything for them. 55 years of rebuilding. Callum's in the building. Good to see you, man. If we trade Hughes, we can get dramatically better at multiple key positions right now. Depending on what you get in return, it's possible. I don't think we can win the cup with a 60-point first-line center and an 8-point second-line center. Ooh, yeah, the Hedl thing, too. Like, that's the other thing I forgot to talk about. Hedl, trading for Hedl, guys. Injury-prone Hedl. Bad move, right? Yeah, these contracts are long, guys. That's the point there. I think 4 to 6 is realistic. Okay. I mean, it's so easy for us to say, but like then it's going to be hard to sell tickets. And that's what our owner doesn't want to do. But we do have a few good pieces with Lechermacki, DPD, Verlander, and Coots. I just don't think we had the forwards coming up that is – I like Mancini too, by the way. Steve's like thinking like me, owner will never rebuild, and therefore it will never happen till we find new ownership. No practice rank, aging stadium with mixed match seats, family members who are owners are fighting internally. I know there's a lot going on, man. The season is young. Glad the injuries are now. And if March, April, we have everyone. Yeah. Yeah. It's still early. Shannon, does Quinn Hughes even want to stay with the Canucks the way this team is? That's a good question, Shannon. Brian says if we can somewhat tank, say, due to injuries and somehow got the first overall pick, do you trade the first, McKenna, and a 2017 first and a prospect for Jack and Luke Hughes? Woo! I think if you actually got McKenna, you keep him and you rebuild with that guy. That would be awesome. Jack and Luke won't be the best players to get. I mean, Jack's had injury problems too. Luke was probably drafted a little too high. Yeah, they cost a combined $17 million. Canuck Tony says, anyone think signing Stamkos is a good idea? I do not think so, and you do not think so. That's not a good idea. Yeah, good question, Shannon. If I were a superstar athlete entered in my prime years, I certainly would not want to waste my time with this team. Steve, number 16, Linden, wanted to rebuild, and he was dismissed. Mr. Fix-It, Jim, said he could do it and couldn't. And in comes Gramps. I love Rutherford, man. I really do. And they're failing too. It starts from the top. Okay. It's too bad as soon as the NHL teams have more than 5 injuries, they pull that team out. I don't know what you mean by that, but not sure, Shannon. As much as people regret missing Roslovic, Reichel has a better future potential with, in my humblest of opinion. I don't mind Reichel, and I was really excited about him, but he honestly has not taken this opportunity and taken it, by the horns, that kind of thing. So Stamkos has 4 points in 18 games. No, thanks. Let's pass. Shannon, I work harder than EP14. I don't get 11.6. Okay, Shannon, I love it. I love it. Steve, National wants to trade Ryan O'Reilly, but out of respect to the players, they won't trade him to Vancouver because he doesn't want to come here. What does that say about your team? Ouch. Ouch. Callum says we have a decent middle to bottom of the lineup players. If we traded EP40 out, Hughes and Besser, we could get better, younger players. I mean, yeah, but who takes those contracts on? Whew. Man, I had a whirlwind getting back home, so I'm pretty tired tonight. Mark says it is tough to watch these Canuck games if Hughes does leave, we would get a great haul of picks and players from Jersey. I agree. Steve, and O'Reilly doesn't even have a no trade clause. We're done. Wow. Would it be considered a rebuild if we just got rid of EP40? The rest of the contracts are decent. No, you know what? That's true. I would consider it depending on what you get in return. But Doodle Hockey says, love your streams. I'm also really debating in my head, what's the plan moving forward? It's not easy. It's not easy. This is not a quick fix. This is not a simple solution. It's not just like, and that's why I think the rebuild thing is just too easy. It's like, just rebuild. It's just like, it just doesn't happen overnight. It's not magical. It's so difficult to rebuild. It takes so many years, and you got to hit on your draft picks. You got to bring in those guys they're going to do that. You got to have the developmental coaches in, and you got to have all these things. So I'm with you, Doodle. Like Jacob, I'm with you, man. It is not easy. It is not easy. Dave says, cue the overpay for an old has been. Yeah. Should have sold Demko to a nursing. Oh my goodness, Shannon. I don't know about that. He's not old. He's just injured. They could have benched Shelovs and just dropped one of the 8 D-men and the 13 forwards at the NHL level. Could have they? Excuse me, everyone. Dave, another Dave here. My problem with a lot of rebuild talk is that people think it takes 10 years and first overall picks, when Anaheim did not win a single first overall pick and rebuilt in 5-ish years. That's fine. That's fair. I think you got to hit on everything though, right? Now the Canucks have now the Ducks have lapped the Canucks. What I love about Sherwood, Kevin says, is his gym is in a barn back home. That's cool. Kevin also says, I don't think Sherwood will demand a Kuzmenko contract. He seems more down to earth. Maybe a Joshua contract. I think he's going to get 4+ for sure. Olivia says, wish we signed Roslovich for our depth. That's fair. It's fair. But he didn't want to come to Vancouver. He wanted to go to Edmonton for $1.5 million. We would have never got him for. He wanted $3 million from us. Adam Lee wants us to trade Quinn Hughes. Philippine Airlines 747 waiting for you. Angelo, why do you always change your name? It's hilarious. Time to can Jim Rutherford and Alvin. Jack's in the building. Trade Quinn for a king's ransom and don't send him to the Devils. Let them think he's going for free. Yeah, they think that he's going to come in free agency. Rebuild until 2030. 1970 to 2030. No cups. Why would he stay? Trade Quinn Hughes now. EP40 is trash, Adam Lee says. Is he good? No, you said he's trash. I don't think he's trash. I just don't think he's worth his contract. Kevin says if we had traded Hronek before his no trade clause, we could have great young number 1C. Maybe. I don't know. It depends what we get in return. Jack, also there's DuPont in the next draft, in the draft next year. And that other guy too. No one is selling. So we should. It could jumpstart us like the Habs. It could. Angelo says this season's over. Jack says go get the Leafs puck from Boston. Pick from Boston. This medical team should be sued into the ground. Yeah. A lot of people are frustrated. Kelly's in the building. Forever retool, never rebuild. That's true. I'm going to play for the Canucks and I want to sue this medical team for the ground. Okay. Jack says we can sell tickets easy to go get guys like Rempe and just go get a goon squad. Yeah, that'd be entertaining. Is Hughes injured? I mean, he is, but it sounds like he's going to play. Nobody wants Stamkos, 46,000 million years old. Adam Lee says, so Demko has a new injury, not the old one. Oh, my goodness. I don't know when he's coming back, man. I don't know when he's coming back. Used to believe in this team, not anymore. That Chicago game I was at, that was the turning point for me. I'm honest, they got to blow it up. EP40 and Quinn included. Wow. So I guess what I'm trying to say, for instance, is we have like 5 injuries in NHL, takes the team out. We had 9 injuries, Shannon. That's what took us out. Demko too, get the Oilers to overpay. Just incredible. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Just came back from an epic sports vacation. Chicago, Milwaukee, Green Bay, Minneapolis, back to, and then went to a Flames wild game in Minnesota and St. Paul. Went to my Packers game on Monday Night Football against the Eagles. It was awesome. Doing well. Adam Lee wants us to tank. Galactics here says no rebuild. That means they would probably have to bring in new management. I agree. She Loves Trade is not aging well. You're right. Fred. Is it Frederick? Says Canucks is only 3 points from second place in the Pacific. I still believe in this team. I'm okay with that. Kelly says switch Hughes with EP40. Watch Canucks make the playoffs. Switch Hughes with EP. Oh, you're talking about Hughes playing forward? Jack, Canucks, Ducks had a lot of misses too. Blackhawks as well. That's why it took longer. Everyone's going to miss. No one hits perfectly on the draft. Montreal had mostly hits, and it took 2 years. The reason why I'm saying nursing home is because he's always getting injured, so maybe he needs help with exercise. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. There's no chance he goes to free agency. I think Quinn gets traded, Jack says. The fans know where the team is at, but the owner doesn't. It's a shame. Trev, why couldn't your Packers beat those dang Eagles? You know what? That's a good question. You know, the answer is because our offense failed. Our offense failed us. Play calling failed us. So Demko out for 3 weeks. Not bad. Not too bad. I don't believe that. I think he'll be out longer. My Hawks could have been the number one seed. They got a big game. The Seahawks got a big game against the Rams this week. The Canucks are 28th overall, and they're talking about Shen. Like, come on, man. Shen isn't going to do nothing. I agree. Anyways, everyone, it's been 56 minutes. Great to have everyone here, okay? Marcus is pumped because his Denver Broncos are kicking butt. Of course, you know. Yeah, so, and the other thing about the Eagles, guys, they're the number one team in the NFC. So we lost to them by 3. It was ugly and gross, but we lost them by 3. I think we bounced back. We're gonna get a bunch of wins coming up. I think we're gonna go on a bit of a winning streak. We're gonna be okay. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna head out. Thank you everyone so much for being here. Appreciate you. Good question to ask, and thank you for the comments. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate you. I'm back. I'm going to make tons of content this weekend, so stay tuned, okay, everyone? There's lots more of this awesome content coming out. Have a great night. Let's continue to believe in blue. Go Canucks, go. We're going to cheer this team on. Have a good evening.